Hey, it's Jason coming to you with something this morning that I'm going to preface with a disclaimer. I don't normally ever disclaimer my things, but this one I feel like it's somewhat important. I took off the branded hat and want to point out that the views I talk about and express during this recording are my own and in no way those of my company. I feel like this one is spicy enough and on the edge enough that I could potentially get in trouble here. So I'm just gonna start by saying that no one at my company is endorsing this. It is me and me alone that is after this. I want to point out something that has been brought to my attention by a couple of different vendors, and I don't agree with it, and I've kind of let it go. I knew about it before DattoCon. Since I was going to DattoCon, I waited as I did not want to get myself ejected from DattoCon. But now that it's over, I want to go ahead and bring it to everyone's attention and get other people's opinions on it. Okay, here we go. The thing in question here is a clause that has been added to the 2023 event contracts for all Kaseya events that I'm aware of. I know it's present in the Connect IT or whatever they call their Vegas event contract, and I've not heard one way or the other if it's in the DattoCon contract for next year. I can't imagine companies are really doing that next year. This has been brought to me again by more than one vendor in this space, right? So this actually appears to be a thing. I have asked a couple other vendors to see if they have copies of it. Have not heard back yet. As you can imagine, if a vendor has executed this contract, they may be a little bit hesitant to tell me about it, right? It may be the case where some Fight Club rules apply, and one could argue that talking about the non-disparagement agreement is in itself disparagement. So I can see a world where companies just plain and simple wouldn't want to do that. The agreement reads, non-disparagement. Sponsor agrees that it will not directly nor indirectly publicly criticize, ridicule, disparage, or defame any Kaseya entity or its products, services, policies, directors, officers, shareholders, or employees with or through any written or oral statement or image, including but not limited to any statement made via websites, blogs, postings to the internet, or emails, and whether or not they are made anonymously or through the use of a pseudonym, whether it will be in competition, marketing, or otherwise. Further, a sponsor agrees that it will not directly nor indirectly solicit, induce, entice, cause, or attempt to solicit, induce, entice, or cause the alteration, reduction, termination, or modification of any relationship between any Kaseya entity and any of their own customers, partners, vendors, or suppliers. In the event this provision is breached 30 days prior to this event, sponsorship and its ability to attend this event will be immediately terminated by Kaseya, and sponsor will pay liquidated damages of 50% of the total fees due under this agreement. If this provision is breached any time after the 30 days, damage arising from this breach would violate the provision, and the sponsor's sponsorship and its ability to attend this event will be immediately terminated, and sponsor will pay Kaseya liquidated damages of 100% of the total fees due under this agreement. Kaseya will have no liability over any expenses the sponsor may incur in relation to the event. There's quite a bit to unpack there. And I have issue on this with a couple of different reasons. First of all, to me, it's overly broadly written, right? Like, there are lots of vendors that attend these events. Many of these vendors directly compete with Kaseya, right? For instance, at DattoCon last month, ConnectWise was there, right? So ConnectWise, by my reading of it, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but my layman reading of it would indicate that by its very definition, ConnectWise is attempting to get people to use products that are in immediate competition with Kaseya. So they are violating the clause where they could be causing a user to alter, reduce, or terminate its relationship between Kaseya. Right? Like, by its very nature, if you're on VSA and you pick up Automate or Continuum or Azio or whatever they're calling it these days at at DattoCon, then ConnectWise is in direct violation of this agreement and could be terminated and not permitted to attend this event. Considering the wide swath of intellectual property that these brands own, including some brands that aren't even public yet, it becomes very difficult to attend one of these events as a sponsor and not be in violation of this term. The second huge issue I have with this comes from a security perspective, right? So these events exist, and we have people attending them that are security researchers, right? Like, be it ThreatLocker, Huntress, Blackpoint, there's Sophos, there's numerous companies that attend these events. And during the July 4th breach, several of these companies produced research about the actual breach and helped a ton of partners out by doing that. And in doing so, they would have been in direct violation of this thing here, because it could very easily be viewed as disparagement of Kaseya and its entities to talk about breaches in Kaseya or its entities. Right? Finally, kind of my other last remaining big issue with this is, from my perspective, maybe they feel like they're being like slightly unfairly targeted, and the big bad internet is being mean to them, right? And there's kind of two ways that you can deal with this. You can either stop engaging in behavior that makes everyone mad at you, or you can attempt to gag it. And it's very clear to me that the powers to be at Kaseya would rather try to gag this form of expression by partners or by vendors, and it's only probably a matter of time before we start seeing them come against partners too. Almost every one of these contracts that partners enter into with these vendors also have a non-disparagement agreement. So it'll be interesting to see if they start trying to swing at that agreement with some partners that are pretty vocal about them. From my high-level perspective, I actually honestly believe that this is probably a direct result of Frownygate, where Andrew Kaiser from Huntress posted a single frowny on the news that Kaseya had acquired Datto, and an entire firestorm ensued with somebody at the Kaseya organization basically indicating that it could affect their placement, and from what I've been able to tell, did affect their placement at the Kaseya event, and has definitely strained that relationship there. So I'm curious what other people think. I'd like people to weigh in on their thoughts on this stuff, and let me know if people like content like this. I certainly don't have any issue being spicy and giving my opinions on things like this. But that's essentially all I had. Look forward to the next one. Thanks.